Do you have trouble coming up with meaningful lyrics, or writing a hook or chorus that's catchy and not cliche, or having your song sound original? Well, you're not alone. These are common problems that every songwriter faces at some point. So here are some easy solutions or hacks that I found help me. Hi, I'm Tony from Songwriters Chop Shop. So how do we write meaningful lyrics, describe a situation poetically while still sounding natural, keeping the message of our theme clear while avoiding cliches? Very often it's hard to get past the first line, never mind the rest. I've talked before about how our human minds are designed to find patterns and how this leads us to automatically making connections. You can check that out in this video here. I'll link it below. This goes for the writer and the audience. So maybe one approach to clear, meaningful lyrics lies in the space we can leave the listener to interact with. What if, to be clear, we need to be vague? It's great to write about something meaningful, but don't let that slow you down. Because who decides what is meaningful, you or the listener? Look at how people read into Bob Dylan or John Lennon's abstract lyrics. One way we can do this is to play with internal rhymes. Just pick a word and find a bunch of rhymes for it. Here's something I came up with, playing with rhymes for the word delicate. I found elegant and elephant. Then my mind made connections and I came up with the line, as elegant as a delicate elephant on a tightrope. A random nonsense lyric, but can we read meaning into it? The imagery of elephant tells of something powerful, wild, yet sensitive and intelligent. And not the first thing you think of when you use words like elegant or delicate, except in contrast. So we put all that on a tightrope and it evokes imagery of these elements trying to find balance. And to me that's a pretty decent concept for a song and something we can all relate to. So try it out, use internal rhymes to come up with some phonetically pleasing sounds and then tie it all together with a theme. It doesn't have to make much sense, just a loose connection based on what you've written. But leave enough space so the audience can decide what it means to them. After all, it's worked pretty well for the Red Hot Chili Peppers. And there's other ways we can play with this idea. Take any unfinished lyrics or poetry you have, or even use songs with lyrics that just blow you away. Cut them up into phrases or even single words and combine them at random. Chances are something will pop out at you that will spark off an idea. Then let it suggest a theme or an emotional point of view to tie it all together. I go into themes and emotional points of view in this video if you want to check it out. I'll link it below. Having a theme or a solid emotional point of view will give your song a strong message, or at least the illusion of one. This gives us a solid place to start looking at the song from different points of view, which can add content for different sections, like the bridge, and it makes it easier to find key words that we can go and get rhymes for. Writing this way, you don't have to be particularly inspired, but you can still be sincere and write about a subject that means something to you. And if you're still too close to the situation you want to write about, this will help you organize your emotions without being totally consumed by that emotional state. So this is just one approach. If you want to find out more about how to write a detailed, poetic description of a specific situation, I go into it in this video here. Check it out, link below. So how do we come up with the mythical great chorus or catchy hook? This problem can often get us thinking we need to be clever, simple yet clever nonetheless. Maybe we've heard terms like melodic math or call and response and it all sounds very complicated. But maybe we don't have to be clever. What if we went the route of being primal instead? There's a reason us humans love a good hook or a catchy chorus, and it's the same reason we love a good story. And that's what a song basically is, a story. Whether it's told through its hook, its lyrics, its melody, its rhythm, or whatever, it still boils down to story. Stories have literally been part of our evolution for thousands of years. So let's go back and look at how we used to remember stories before we had the ability to write anything down or record it. Well, repetition must have played a huge part, as would surprise and variation. Rhythm and rhyme are powerful tools for remembering, and so are emotions. Simple things are always easier to remember. So there are 6 basic ingredients we can use as a checklist to guide our hooks. Let's put it to the test. Let's take one of the oldest and most popular rhythms in the world, the clave rhythm. So let's give it a repetition pattern and stick with something everyone's used to, the rule of 3. So we repeat it twice and change it somehow for the 3rd time. This covers the surprise element as well. Now this is a song, so we're going to need some music. Let's keep it simple and give it some chords and no pitches everyone is used to hearing. So we'll use one of the most common scales, the pentatonic scale. And one of the most common chord progressions, the old So now let's add this to our rhythms and repetition patterns. Now we need some rhyme. So what about a simple AAB rhyme scheme? Again, this also covers repetition, variation, surprise, and the rule of 3. Now all that's left is emotion. And how do we create emotion? Well, apart from the music, words that evoke imagery, verbs, adjectives, adverbs. 2. Motion creates emotion. So let's find an emotional point of view to work from. So what emotions or images is this suggesting? Kinda reminds me of springtime. And springtime is a time of rebirth. So let's keep it vague so the listener can use their imagination. And remember, I'm not trying to reinvent the wheel here. I'll leave that up to you. I'm just testing a theory, and if the theory proves true, we can elaborate on it later. So here's what I came up with.
Twisting in the wind, where will we begin? From this raging sea, we're reborn.
So let me know in the comments if you think this would qualify as a catchy hook or chorus. Check out this video to see how both Nirvana and producer of hits Max Martin uses these elements. What if our songs sound too much like our influences and not original? So there's a couple of points to make here. Firstly, if this is a problem for you, don't get hung up on it. It will only make it more of a problem. What you resist persists. And secondly, there's nothing wrong with it. There's the saying, good artists borrow, but great artists steal. And let's follow that to its logical conclusion for a second. Great artists steal. So the songs you think sound like someone else are made by artists, and those artists have a fan base, their music works, it's marketable, and you like it. So why not use that to your advantage? Since songwriters and musicians are artists and not marketers, the first thing we think of is we want to be original. Not that these acts have an audience, I sound like them, and so possibly their audience could be potentially my audience. What if the problem was its own solution? When life gives you a lemonade stand, make lemonade and sell it. You've got an instant marketing strategy, and that's something that musicians and artists inherently have trouble with. So what if we went all in and sounded as much like that artist as you can? You could target their audience using hashtags on Twitter and Instagram, leverage TikTok with a related challenge, even make a Facebook ads campaign with a related video that has your highly targeted music in the background. Get creative with it. You might be thinking, well, that hasn't solved the problem at all. But remember, every artist evolves. And there's no reason to think that you as an artist won't also evolve and find your own voice over time. Except now, maybe you have a fan base that's interested in hearing that unique sound. You could move from sounding like them to using their songs as templates. Check out this video for how to do that. To sounding unique. And that audience has been with you every step of the way throughout your journey, like a contestant on X Factor or America's Got Talent. But that's selling out, I hear you say. Have you ever questioned where you got the notion of selling out? Just something to ponder. I mean, if it's working for you, that's fine. If you think marketing is selling out and you can still make a living off your music,